Welcome back, everybody. They have been a name you can trust since 1959. When you're in an accident, you get a team approach from the attorneys at Herrling Clark. Kristen Shireman is one of them. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with a little bit of history of Herrling Clark, because it's important for people to know that this is a locally based firm.
We are, and I was surprised to hear that maybe was surprising to you as well, but we started in Appleton. So in 1959, Don Herrling at the time was a solo practitioner, and he opened up a firm in downtown Appleton. I think it might have been the old Zilke building.
Okay.
And decided that he really wanted people in his community to have access to the same type of legal representation you'd otherwise get in Milwaukee or the bigger cities. And then ultimately he and Roger Clark teamed up, and I suppose the rest they say is history. But we've stayed in Appleton.
Yeah.
We have some satellite offices, but Fox City's based.
Very good. All right, what's it like being represented by a Herrling Clark attorney? What's the benefit?
I think the biggest benefit when you are represented by our firm is there's a team of people. You mentioned that initially that takes care of you. So you always have an attorney that you work with, but depending on the nature of the case, sometimes it's important to have more than one attorney involved in representation. We have 6 attorneys who do exclusively personal injury work.
Okay.
So there's always a team of attorneys behind you, but then you have an entire team of legal assistants and paralegals. We have access to investigators. And so it's an entire group of people that are constantly focused on making sure that your case is developed so that ultimately the resolution that's released is the most favorable possible.
Sure. And we are focusing on personal injury today. So if you're in an accident, what should you be thinking about right away?
I think this goes without saying, but the most important thing is obviously your health and safety. So you're in an accident, those are the things you want to be focusing on right away. But then it quickly gets complicated. And what people don't know, and why would you think this ahead of time, what do you do with your medical bills? Who do you submit those to? Who pays those? How much do you share with a doctor?
Yeah.
Those are the type of things that it helps to have early contact with an attorney, whether you're going to hire one or not, to understand what you need to be doing early on. Once you do or don't do things, it's very hard to turn time back and fix that if you've done it in a way that may not have been the best.
Because I've heard of people that are right away, and probably it's from the energy or the, your fight or flight kind of when you get in the accident, and they're like, nope, I'm fine. And then later you might develop a problem.
That's very, very common. And so one of the things that we tell people when we're able to talk with them is just be very aware of your body. There is a lot of adrenaline coursing through someone's body when they're in an accident, and there may be areas of your body that are obviously hurt, but that can also detract from other areas that are also hurt but hurt less. So it's paying attention to every part of your body and making sure that you're reporting whatever you're feeling to the people who are providing you medical care.
And will you help us determine if we really do need a lawyer or not?
Surprisingly, not everyone does need a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I think that's weird maybe to hear from a lawyer say that you might not need us. It never hurts to talk with an attorney, but whether or not you end up needing an attorney can depend on, again, the complexity of your injuries. Some of the things that existed before the crash, did you have similar symptoms or problems beforehand that were then made worse by an accident? That can be a very complicated situation that requires some help. And then there are obviously cases where, unfortunately, someone's injuries are going to cause longer-term complications, an inability to work, an inability to, again, maintain some of your physical abilities. And that's where having someone who understands how to, again, connect you with not only the right care, but present these claims can be very helpful.
Well, remember, don't question it later. Call right away. You'll find Herrling Clark offices in Appleton, as Kristen mentioned, also Green Bay, Oshkosh, and they do serve many surrounding communities. That phone number to reach them locally, 920-739-7366. Online, herlingclark.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.